I've been scarred and I've been bruised. I have learned just what to do. I need to leave my past behind me. I need to look to the future. No matter what will come.
Hi, UK family. Welcome to another Tuesday. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for engaging with me. Thank you for talking to me on your platforms and about me on your platforms. I appreciate the validation so much. Just a mere stroke to say you make impact, you matter to us, makes me believe that this matters. So even in the absence of physical energy, even in the absence of, I suppose, motivation, the enoughness, that you indicate to me, it's like just you being here is sufficient. Just you being here makes such a significant difference that sometimes I just show up even if I don't feel like I've got much to offer on that particular day. Thank you.
Been bruised. I have.
We are here today and we are without Tingo. We've been without Tingo for a while, so we've been talking about really warm things that don't require the presence of the bunny. Tingo won't be absent for long. So Sabuya askayeki uthetha ngezinto ezigcobisayo. Thank you for being so receptive to the content we've been delivering the past few weeks. You can see on the screen we're doing paternal love today, particularly in respect to girl children. I think we often throw it as a joke when people make maladaptive relationship choices to be like, this person's got daddy issues. But I think it speaks to understanding how much often injury can be caused by an absence of a paternal figure in a girl child's life. And when we talk masculinity in a girl children's life, the first and foremost thing to consider is the physiological difference between dads and mommies. Dads are usually built to be much stronger, to be much taller, and of course this physical advantage almost leads the household or the environment to delegate the difficult, the impossible, and sometimes the dangerous things to dads. So you'll see that if someone is struggling to open a really tight jar, it's going to get passed to dad. If there is a voice that is strange, that's calling on the outside, it's dad that must go and check. If anything seems difficult or strenuous or really tough, it's usually dad that catches the responsibility. So that immediately sends the subliminal message that there's fragile people in the house and dad is almost top tier in terms of strength, almost the ultimate in terms of being able to do what has been deemed impossible by other people present in that space. And of course, girl children have an inherent fragility about them. Well, physically, first of all, they've just got less physical strength usually to do most things for themselves, and that often places a dependency for those things. So the presence of a involved dad, we're not just talking involvement, we're talking positive involvement in a girl child's life, is what gives protection to your fragility. You feel vulnerable when you understand that you're exposed, but there's nothing you can do about it. And this usually breeds anxiety because you are aware of just how vulnerable you are. We seek, ways to address our vulnerability. We put security personnel, in our apartments. We put alarm systems in our apartments because we understand just how vulnerable we are. Usually, dads buffer us against that vulnerability. That it looks like when things are hard, it looks like when things require strength and largeness, daddy can do that better than most people. So most girl children idealize their dads. It's like the hero usually of the situation. Just lifting something, dad is the hero. No one else could get it up for you. So dads are heroes for their girl children. And the interaction between that hero and you teaches you gradually how to then interact with that energy. So the absence of that energy in your life is, I suppose, injurious. It's not like people that grow up without that, we are advocating for a disadvantage, but we are talking of what the involvement does, not what the absence of the involvement does. We're talking about what the positive involvement and engagement does in a girl child's life. It makes you feel safe, first and foremost. It not even makes you feel, it makes you safe. Are you feeling you are safe because it's not your responsibility. That thing has someone else to deal with before it gets to you. So you are safe, provided that your dad does what his job, is to do. And once you engage with the world from a place of safety, you generally spill that over to other areas of your functioning. People that are scared and anxious and vulnerable struggle with the courage to try. You hide generally from threat because you haven't had the bravery to be exposed to threat to know that it won't harm you. There's something brave and courageous about people that are secure and safe. You run wild, like honor to go explore and be curious because your dad is around. They're not too far out of reach should you hit danger. But when you are unsafe, we are balekiswa engozini. Sukuya pha uzakwenzakala. Hayi sukuya pha uzavulelwa ngubani lanto. Hayi sukuthi. So it comes with prohibition when you are unsafe. Don't. It's the opposite for someone that's safe and secure. You can go around there and try. You can be sent to the shop. Should back there's consequence to deal with. You can. There's something that allows you to try and to try and to try when you are safe. So that is what healthy masculinity does. It makes you feel safe. Secondly, it provides a template for interacting with masculinity in other spaces where you see it. The world is full of men. In our workspaces, in our peer environments, and there's something similar about how they present with how your dad presents. Same physical features. There's something similar about them. So we usually do similarity most classes of Dilanend. Where you have seen it before is how you respond when you see it next time. Automatic next time, nobody, it's a different brand. You know what to do. So same as templates, how you've interacted with masculine energy is how you're going to respond to masculine energy. That isn't necessarily home. So that is the map. That this is how you deal with these spaces. And therefore, when you see it in other spaces, this is where most what people call daddy issues come from. That there hasn't been the template. So what a person has done, has semblanced it kwezinye masculine figures as around, ezingekho consistent because that's fine. The nice thing about dad is that it is a consistent figure. But xa engekho utata uyasikarela kubrother, kumalume, kuprincipal, and your idea of masculinity is semblanced from things that aren't necessarily consistent. So I'm not a stable one to use when you scream for another male. And therefore you try this out, you try this out, you try this out. This is what most people will say you've got daddy issues. Or when you experience it for the first time going in down, you cling on so tightly to it because for the first time you feel an energy that you like, it must be love. But people that know that, no, it's not love. They've interacted with this energy before. But if you've been without what masculinity does, the first time someone provides that for you, it is so fundamental and protective that you are willing to ignore all other dangerous things about them just to cling on to that feeling. Because safety is very low in human needs. Just above food is safety. You can't gamble with safety. So teenager, and you don't know this feeling. It feels like what I suppose babies feel when they're in a uterus. You are safe and untouchable. So it doesn't matter how often you cheat, it doesn't matter how abusive you are, this is usually something they are not willing to part with. Sugar daddy and. But it's because this fundamental need has been met finally. But this fundamental need is a familiar feeling for them. As a result, once I dig males, they keep on feeling something is off with this relationship. Ulandau is where they know this template from. So that's another thing. It builds self-esteem. I will tell you, I've had many compliments about things, but the compliments from my dad weigh the heavier. This thing of, I suppose because mommies and you have a necessary relationship. You depend on them for food, for feeding. There's something about dad that is a choice about you. Nothing would happen. Your mom needs to carry you. Your mom needs to birth you. Your mom and you've got this invisible string. Daddy creates the string. Daddy has to think of you. So this ongoing validation that amongst all other choices you have, spending time with me is a choice. She kind of sort of can't really disappear completely. So I choose Uhamba now. It's a beautiful feeling. Age 3, 4, I don't remember much else that happened around that time. But every time my dad took me somewhere, I remember it. Every time my dad took me somewhere. For instance, I grew up as a very overweight baby, like very, very chubby baby. There's something about my weight that was so light for my dad because I was always on his shoulders. And he always used to compliment how well I eat and how strong and big I'm getting. I've never had insecurities over the fact that I was a big baby. Now that I'm grown, there's even nicknames, but wasn't necessarily a nice nickname, but I've never felt like this is an area of insecurity. I could be carried. Dad was proud to take me anywhere, usually on his back, so I wasn't heavy. There was no consequence to my fatness. It's not like on Lendo because I'm big. So it builds beautiful self-esteem. And to put you at ease when you don't have a biological father, it's not really biology that does this. It's masculinity that does this. It's maleness that does this. So the presence of that figure, none of us have critically evaluated our paternity. My dad is my dad. I'm not really sure what the paternity story is. I've never went to check it out. He's my dad because of the role that he plays in my life. So accessibility to that energy and that social experience is what parenting is about. It's got nothing to do with biology. Yeah, I'd be like, you hi, legit. It doesn't matter what biological data you are then going to provide. None of us evaluate biological to verify if le nto yobungutata inyani na. Meaning ubutata is an experience. Ubutata is a role. So in the absence of a biological masculine figure, masculinity achieves this. Engagement, reliability, dependability, responsibility from a masculine figure achieves this. We've seen this with kids raised in step-parent families. We've seen this. We've seen this with male mentors in the workspace. Once in Jibe Kwanela figure, we continue to seek it. And it's tied to fantasy. Oh, my dad's going to walk me down the aisle and. It gives us princess behavior. And you can make this accessible to your children from whoever is a dependable, healthy figure that can provide it, even if it's not their particular biological parent. I know the structure of family is also changing right now, that people are raised in perhaps same-sex families where there's mom and where there's dad as dad. There's two ladies in the house, but they've always acknowledged the role of the necessity of being tied to someone that's going to provide la base. And also they're good disciplinarians, dad, because they're strong, they could injure you if they wanted to. So usually they need to summon that voice as ogoyikis. And also because males are dangerous. Most criminal behavior comes from males. So it makes you feel safe. That is on your side. You interact better with spaces where you are exposed to harm, crime, and threat, because it's likely to come from another male. We perceive it to come from another male. So ziva safe awunenye email that if that danger comes, they're going to be matched equal level because when akuphandle kuwe for ukuzilwela. So yes, daddies are important, daddies are important, daddies are important. Daddies, you are especially important in your girl children's life. We're going to do paternal for the male child, but I'm hoping we're going to get someone who's male, to define that. A colleague of mine was supposed to do fatherless sons for us. So we're going to wait for him to recover and maybe we'll bring that for you guys. But from a girl child that has enjoyed, good involvement from daddy and sometimes bad. Dads are impactful, whether they do the right thing, whether they do the bad thing. Try to do right by your girl children. It makes them feel like an absolute princess in the world, and they go on to expect the world to treat them like the princess that they are if you've provided a solid foundation for it. If a biological dad is absent either by choice or loss, I pray you are surrounded by healthy males around you that can offer that social experiences to your princess at home so they can develop well, they can develop safely, and have great self-esteem. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you next time.
Just what to do, and that's all because of you.